And welcome, it's Matt Finnegan here, and you're watching another Soccer Insight betting preview, and we're looking at the North East derby. For many, this is the big game of the weekend. Forget Chelsea versus Man City. For most, this is one of the most important games of the season, and it's always got certain talking points. And again, this one is the new manager at Sunderland. Okay, but looking at this, an early look at the markets, these prices will be subject to change, and if you fancy a more in-depth analysis of the markets, then do check out this market analysis in my weekly Betting Insight Weekly magazine. 30 pages jam-packed with all kinds of betting analysis on loads of different sports, not just football. There's horse racing, there's golf, there's NFL, there's rugby, and there's NBA in there as well. So packed with lots of sports, lots of different experts. But full analysis of this game will be exclusive in that magazine on Saturday. Okay, so if you do fancy that full analysis, this is an early look at the market, and we'll do that firstly by having a look at the OP index prices on these teams, and you'll see that Sunderland, they're rated at 2.65 on the OP index, Newcastle 2.9, and the draw at 355. And see that we all know that Sunderland, no kind of form, but this is form book, they say, gets ripped out of the and chucked out of the window in these kind of matches, and so you could sort of ignore the form. But Newcastle, a great result, and they're going to be buoyed by that. Sunderland, if they go a goal behind, they're going to be quite on edge there, so to speak, of when are they going to get the first win of the season. And the Premier League is unforgiving. Let's have a look at the head-to-head, and you'll see that it's a 1 victory each and 3 draws. So most likely, that could be the result that really suits both managers a point apiece. Let's have a look at the Betfair markets in this game, and you'll see that they're almost the reverse here of the OP index prices. Sunderland, where Newcastle are on the OP index, and vice versa. Now, there could be some tightening of these prices. This is an early look. You can just see there's just 17,000 in the market so far. This is subject to change, and the team news will be a big factor in this, sort of going forward. But you may see the prices coming slightly closer together. It all depends on the market momentum in this game. But Sunderland, a little bit of value against our OP index prices. But let's have a look at what your options are if you fancy either team to win or get a result. And we'll look at the home side first, Sunderland, and they're good value. We've just established that on the exchanges against the OP index price. So if you do fancy Sunderland to win, and you're under the opinion that they may not sort of go above sort of 2 to 1, 3.0, you may want to take that price, because I think it's more likely that they could sort of come in. But who knows? You've got plenty of time to sort of monitor and check the markets there. But at the moment, you're getting good value, for that win. And roughly around sort of about the 3.02 to 1 mark, you should get about even money on Sunderland to win, draw no bet. Okay, so that's a consideration. You've got that money back if you think, well, I think Sunderland will come away with something out of the game. The game normally ends in a draw. You're going to get even money. Let the win, draw no bet, get your stake back there. So that's an option that you could sort of consider. And a speculative bet is Sunderland not watertight. If they're going to win this game, they're most likely going to concede. Okay, and you're going to get over 3 to 1 on that. So if you want to be speculative and you do feel Sunderland to win, you're going to get over 3 to 1 at 4.2. That Sunderland win not to nil. So that is an option. It's a speculative option. We'll cover the winning margins later in this preview. Let's have a look at the flip side. Newcastle, at the moment they're no value, but they could drift. They could get towards that. Certainly if they get 2.8 on the exchange, over 2.8, then I wouldn't put you off taking that. It's very, very close to the index price. It's very, very close to fair value. So if you do fancy them to win, I certainly wouldn't put you off that. Race to 2 goals, that's going to ramp it up roughly to around about the Sunderland sort of price that you're seeing, 2.88, 2.9, that race to 2 goals, and they may need 2 goals to actually win this game, so that could be an option there. It all depends on how strongly that you feel that the goals will flow. That's going to ramp that up. And likewise in the winning margin option here, Dutch in 1 or 2 goals is going to pay around about 2.88 at the best prices that I've seen so far this week. So that's going to give you those sort of options there. But again, you've got the similar options as well that I've talked with Sunderland. You can have a look at all of those options on either team really. So if you do fancy the team to get a result or win, etc., you've got plenty of options. But for me, in sort of profiling this game, probably lends itself to where you don't have to pick the winner, and that's what I'm going to be concentrating on in the written preview that will be in this week's newsletter. So let's have a look at those winning margins and see how they fare, and you'll sort of see that the very similar sort of prices there. 4.6 both to win by 1 goal. You could sort of argue you could actually Dutch those 2 together, and you're going to get a fairly decent price that either team wins by 1 goal, and that could be an option as well if you think I can't pick a winner, but I don't think any team will win by 2 clear goals, but I do think it's not going to finish in a draw. That gives you an option there. But very sort of similar prices on the Dutchin, and it's going to be roughly where the starting prices may sort of end up. The 1 or 2 goals is most likely might end up 2.8 either sort of team, with a draw being around about 3.4, 3.45. Not surprisingly, when we look at the unders and overs, all the juice is on the unders side. Okay, so bit of value on all of those sort of markets. Not much, but a bit of value. So if you think the goals are not going to flow, then certainly get involved in pre-game. If you think there's going to be goals in this game, I'd wait a few minutes, see how we know the tempo is going to be fast, but just see what sort of chances are being created in the first 10 minutes, and then you can play your hand. You're going to squeeze a little bit of juice out of the market. The market's moving in your favour, and you don't have to play your cards. Remember, just 1 goal in that first half, and the unders and over 2.5 goals is roughly going to be the SP price. Now it's roughly going to be around about even money, so you can play your cards at any time in these markets. So just bear that in mind if you're a big fan of the unders and overs markets. You don't nowadays have to play it straight before the game. And talking of in-play, let's finally have a look through some of the in-play stats. And at 25 minutes, it's a 50.83% chance of a goal before half-time if the match is 0-0, and that's bang on the markets. That's going to give you an option either side. If the game is dull and that, there's going to be about the right price there to back up the stats. But if it's open, you're going to get a fairly decent prices as well, and the stats back it up that it's almost a flip of the coin that half the games that fit this profile, there is a goal before half time if it's 0-0. There's a 75% chance of a goal between that 25 and 70 minutes, 3 and 4 games chance. But quite surprisingly, if there is a goal, it actually sort of just goes slightly lower than the 75. It's just 73% chance of another goal actually happening in that type of profile of match. So that's just one thing to sort of bet. It's still very high that goals produce goals in games, and that's the sort of common sort of denominator that if one team's leading, it sort of changes the landscape. And finally, it's a 57.5% chance after 65 minutes. I would very much doubt that the price is going to be 1.74 on the next goal. So if it's 2-0 or 1-1, over 2.5 at that particular moment, it's not going to be 1.74. So it's going to be slightly under that. So if you don't feel there's going to be goals, the margin is going to be on that side. So that's it. That's the North East Derby covered. Like I say, check out all our video previews and check out betting-insight.com. Lots of written market analysis on the big football matches over the weekend, just not necessarily in the Premier League but also in the Serie A as well, and there's lots of other sports as well covered on that site. So that's it from me. Hope you found this video preview useful. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.